Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson was thought to be behind the assassination of President John F. Kennedy on November 22, 1963, in Dallas, Texas. Johnson was thought to have hired and met with a hitman that would do the dirty work for him. This hitman most likely had close ties to the mafia and was willing to shoot the fatal bullet that would kill President Kennedy.
Dude, I know you have ties with the mafia! I need you to assassinate John F. Kennedy for me.
Okay.
LBJ's motives for killing Kennedy would have been for presidency and political gain. LBJ had strived to become president, so when Kennedy had been elected and Johnson was named vice president, they had developed a relationship that was complicated and full of tension. This jealousy and hunger for power could have led Johnson to plot the assassination on the president. Since LBJ's home state was Texas, it almost seemed convenient for him to be able to plot the assassination. Johnson had already knew the trip details and all the moving parts, so he could have planned on an exact location where Kennedy would be when he wanted his hitman to pull the trigger.
Boom!
After the death of JFK, Johnson had means to block any investigations of the case and potentially hide any traces of evidence that could lead back to him. The night before Kennedy's assassination, LBJ and Johnson had an argument over who would ride with Kennedy in the car. Kennedy had wanted his good friend, Governor John Connally, but Johnson had wanted liberal Texas Senator Ralph Yarborough. Could this have been a step in Johnson's plan that could have been ruined? And let's not forget about the documented interview between Jackie Kennedy and a historian that was released by Kennedy's daughter 50 years after her mother's death, where she claimed that LBJ was behind her husband's assassination.
So the assassination of your husband, who do you think did it?
Well, to be fairly honest, I think it was Lyndon B. Johnson.
Well, now we know who truly killed JFK. Lyndon B. Johnson set up the assassination of President John F. Kennedy on November 22, 1963. He hired a hitman to carry out his dirty work and then blocked investigations that may have led to people uncovering his secret. The conspiracy that LBJ helped in the assassination of JFK is widely known, and even Jackie Kennedy believed that LBJ had some connection to the death of her husband.
It's been almost 50 years, but if you're old enough to remember, it is a moment that no American could ever forget. November 22nd, 1963, the day President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed in Dallas.
President Kennedy has been assassinated. It's official now. The president is dead. Women here in shock, some have fainted. Grown men, Secret Service men standing by the emergency room, tears streaming down their face.
That same day, Lyndon B. Johnson would take the oath of office aboard Air Force One. President Johnson and his wife, Lady Bird Johnson, also made this phone call from the plane to President Kennedy's mother, Rose, to give her the terrible news. This is a newly released tape of that conversation from the National Archives.
Yes, Mrs. Kennedy, I have Mr. Johnson for you there. Ms. Kennedy?
Yes. Yes, Mr. President. Yes.
I wish to God there was something that I could do, and I wanted to tell you that we were grieving with you.
Yes, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know you love Jack and he loves you.
Ms. Kennedy, we feel like we just had a...
Yes. All right.
We are glad that the nation had the son as long as it did.
Yes, well, thank you, Lady Bird. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Yes. Love and prayers to all of you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
The JFK Library has also released 45 hours of new recordings of President Kennedy himself from his time in the Oval Office. You can find those at www.jfklibrary.org.